Hello. Hi. Can everybody hear me? We should be rocking and rolling here, I think. Alright, well, I guess let's just go ahead and get rolling into it here. Well, first of all, my name is Sam and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look mainly, I guess, at this Metal Gear comics. That was just kind of the theme of the stream that I kind of wanted to do today. There wasn't a lot of information about the comics that are out there, so that's kind of the direction that I wanted to go into today. And then as well, the comics themselves are pretty expensive in terms of, price spectrum, so not a lot of people own them because of that. I took the plunge, I found a deal on them, so I bought the entire omnibus of the thing. So we'll flip through some of that, take a look at it. I'm a big Metal Gear fan, big Kojima guy, so that'll be a lot of fun. But first things first, I'm going to take a look into today. If you guys didn't see already, I am in the process of... yeah, I can turn the music down here. Let me know if that's too loud or if it's good. But yeah, if you guys didn't see already, I'm in the process of making my own comic. I decided that I've been going to the comic book shop a lot lately, and I haven't been seeing comics that I've really cared about. It's just generic, bullshit, to be honest with you. So I kind of decided to take it upon myself to start making comic books. So this first one, and then probably the second book, are just going to be anthology projects. I'm just getting people, different artists and whatnot involved. And we're going to start cranking out different books. So I do have a couple of things to actually kind of show off here a little bit. So let's go ahead and show this off here. So I decided to kind of show off the direction of the, what I'm going to be doing here with the book. And this is kind of a mock-up of what the front cover / back cover is going to look like without any art on it. Just strictly just the text, logo, so on and so forth that's going to be on here. So just kind of give people an idea of, what the final product is going to be looking like. I plan to have them done, at least the first book, early summer, and hopefully the second book into the late fall, or into the late summer before the fall. Probably like August time frame, early September time frame. I hope to get the second one out. And then I do have this as well that'll be showing you guys. I just got to reactivate this here so that works. So the story that I'm going to be doing, so this is going to be just kind of a raw page from it. It's going to be called Japan X 1974, which basically I am doing a play on kind of like Golgo 13 and a play on just kind of like outlaw Spider-Punk style underground comics, I guess. I have it covered up here for the synopsis. Don't want to give that away quite yet, but just kind of give you an idea that this is what the raw page for the title kind of looks like here. But it's going to be about a kind of just like a sniper hitman going in and taking his first contract. And this is going to be another page here, just raw, so that way you guys can get an idea of, you know, kind of what you're going to be getting here. And this is going to be the very first thing comic-wise I've ever done, so that's going to be my first published works. Alright. So I think that's what we'll do first, is we will run through my haul. I got a bunch of stuff, haul-wise, that I think that we should probably just show off real quick, and then we'll get into the actual Metal Gear comics. Alright, so the first thing that I have we got good old Panorama of Hell, Hino Hideshi. So, Hino Hideshi is one of my favorite Japanese manga artists. Obviously, as you can see, right up my alley. Manga, horror, you know, whatever you want to call it. The dude just draws his ass off. Very unique style. You could always tell that it's Hino just by like the eyes. He has very unique eyes. But if you're not familiar with Hino, we'll just kind of flip through this here real quick and kind of show you. So this is something that is interesting. So this is the first publication of Panorama of Hell that they did in America. So this is from the 80s, I think. Let's see. Trying to remember what date this was actually published. I think this is from the 80s though. Let's see. Yeah, 1989. So, but they still have the English version, but they put the cover on the right side like they would in an American book or an English book. But you still read it like this, to where it's back to front. So that's kind of the interesting thing about that. It's like, why wouldn't you just, I don't know, it's strange, but it is what it is. Just put the cover on the opposite side, brother, if we're going to be reading it this way. I just think that just further confuses people, especially in 1989 when you're trying to introduce American audiences to manga. You want to make it as accessible as possible, so you shouldn't be doing goofy shit like that with the covers. But he's one of the greats, though. This is amazing. But he's a weirdo. There's a lot of weird, just like body horror, gore sort of things. Like, this is awesome. Dude getting stabbed with the bayonet. Love the ink splatter, man. But yeah, Hino Hideshi, this isn't one of his more like gory things. This is kind of like a like a play on The Shining, I guess. It's a bunch of different yeah, that's what I want to say. It's kind of like a play on The Shining is the best way to kind of describe it. Kind of like cabin fever-ish. But yeah, I think like Fish Girl is probably my favorite. I own that. That's probably my favorite Hino Hideshi book. Okay. So like I was saying, I got a fat stack of books here. find some place to stick these. We're probably just gonna take a look at the covers real quick, and then just move through. And then once we get to Metal Gear, we'll slow down the pace. Flip through that book. Take a look at the Metal Gear Omnibus. Alright, so we got Silver Surfer number 1, Silver Surfer number 2, good old Stanley Mobius combo. I like Mobius, but I'm not like the biggest fan of Mobius, so this is kind of like a like an introduction for me, I guess, or I'm trying to get more of an interest into Mobius, which is kind of funny because I'm like the biggest Jeff Darrow guy, and obviously they very much come from the same school of art. But I don't know, there's just something about Mobius, I just don't care for it, his art aesthetic. But I'm a big Silver Surfer guy, so why the hell not? We'll save that. Picked up Appleseed. So this is the data book 2 of 2. I do own the first one, so just kind of finishing off my Appleseed data book collection here. Alright, so we got Octobriana, 1976. In 1986. So he just gave him different dates, just kind of depending on, you know, like where it would have been printed colored. So this is kind of like the black and white. This is kind of like that vintage print style. I already owned black and white from Jim, but Dave from West Coast Avengers, he was selling this in a 3-pack for $30, and just the black light print alone goes for $50, like if you're just buying it brand new. So this was a killer deal to get all 3, and then plus it came with the print, which the print's on the inside, and it's signed. This is just kind of like a letter that's also included with it. So it was a steal to get this at $30. Like I said, this book alone is $50 if you buy it brand new. So all 3 signed. I already own this one, but hey, now I got all 3 prints, and I also have the signed, whatever you want to call it, the signed print, so can't go wrong. Hell of a deal. That one, this comic I had already shown off, but somehow that made it into this stack, but it's in my read pile, so. Alright, this guy. So we have the Myth 8 Opus. So this is the entire 5-issue run of this. This is going to be Tom Scioli's book. All of these are signed. These are pretty rare. These are self-published books. You really don't see these things floating around, especially in an entire run. Typically you find them in onesies and twosies, kind of floating around on eBay. Very low print run. First thing that Tom Scioli ever did. I believe these came out in 2000. So pretty much an oddity. I did pay a pretty penny for these, obviously. But as you can see, I'm wearing a kayfabe t-shirt today. I'm a big kayfabe guy. He is a kayfabe lieutenant. So, this is one of the things of Tom's that I did not own because it was always just out of reach, and I didn't want to buy it in onesies and twosies. If I was going to get it, I was going to get it in full, and Dave had it in full, and not going to lie, it was kind of expensive, but nonetheless, it was still a deal, because if you do buy this singularly, it would have been more expensive to do it that way, so got to give a shout out to Dave again for being the hookup. Well, I guess since we're on the topic of Kirby, and Dave over at West Coast Avengers, I'm going to take a look at this. So I got 2 different books. So this was his first book that he had done. And essentially, it's like a fanzine, fan booklet of all these different Jack Kirby scenes of just like iconic shots of faces. Kind of open this up and show it off. So it's like a collaboration that he does with one of his buddies. I don't honestly think... Okay, yeah, so Andrew Post is his buddy's name. Cool. But yeah, it's just kind of like a fun little zine. I know that Dave still does have some of these, so if this doesn't interest you, feel free to go pick it up. Just weird, just Jack Kirby shit. So if you're big into Jack Kirby, this is definitely something that would go right up your alley, because it's just, I don't think you get any like more weird Jack Kirby shit than that. So this one here is definitely a lot, the print quality is a lot more, so this is their second go around, and it's definitely has like a better quality feel to it. Paper as well. So that is a big difference between the two, I can tell you that right away. At their second book, the quality definitely jumped up. One of my favorites. Silver Surfer, man. I think if Kirby would have done like a, like a Ghost Rider or something, man, that would have been something else. Yeah, the many faces of Jack Kirby and the many more faces of Jack Kirby. That's going to be the first and second book from Dave there. Go head over to his website over at West Coast Avengers and pick those up if Jack Kirby interests you. The thing that I can say about these books as well is that a portion of the proceeds are going to be getting donated to the Jack Kirby Museum. And there isn't actually a physical location, unfortunately, but that's something that they are working on. But they do exhibits and things like that. And after Dave had, I've had Jack Kirby on the mind and things like that, I decided to take it upon myself and buy something directly from the museum. So I have a signed print from good old Eric Larson here, as you can see. And he just did the homage from the Captain America 1943 comic. So pretty cool. And then we got Savage Dragon on there instead of Captain America, shooting up some Nazis. So fuck yeah, can't go wrong there, man. And that is on my agenda, is to get a print for that, or a not print, but get a frame for it. All right. So then we got a Zap Comics number 5. Good old underground goodness. Can't go wrong there. Love you on my underground stuff, and as you can see, there's another Freak Brothers. I don't know what number this is. I'll have to look it up and actually take a look at it. As you guys know, it's like the rip-off press stuff is just kind of all over the place. It's like numbering, the coloring, the printing. It's just like you don't even know. It's just random. It's underground. So it wasn't very organized. So I'll have to look to see if I already own this one, which I don't think I do. But another Freak Brothers book. Love me my Freak Brothers. And there is another fabulous Freak Brothers here. So this one I do for sure own. This was the number 3, and the coloring on the one that I have in my my PC, my personal collection, it's completely different than what this one looks like. So it's just like, again, what are you gonna do? It's just how it rolls sometimes with these rip-off press books. And on the topic of undergrounds, got Women's Comics number 7. Everybody in here is all women cartoonists. Picked up Deadly Tales of Gunslinger number 1. This is a 37-page issue. I haven't got into this yet. I'm a big fan of the Gunslinger Spawn. I think it's probably, besides Haunt, it's probably like the best like newer character that Todd is doing right now. And this is the new series of that. I haven't got a chance to actually read it yet, so actually pretty excited to get into this. Probably gonna start looking at this tonight. Good old Red Room goodness at ADP. One of my all-time favorites, of course. Huge influence on me. And these are ones that I already own, actually. So these two for sure. This one I did not own in terms of like this, at least this cover variant. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them. If I'm going to sell them or give them away to somebody or what have you. Just hold on to them for a while. But Dave was selling them on a deal, and basically anytime I see Eddie P or Jim Rugg, basically anybody kayfabe adjacent, I see them in long boxes, I see them in sales, I buy them, and you know, I call them rescue missions basically. I save them from rotting in boxes. And I don't know how other people take care of their comics, so basically like I said, I'm gonna go on a rescue mission and I'm gonna make sure that they're safe. So I'm gonna fucking take them home with me. Alright, I picked up the copy of Comics Journal 115, Don Simpson goodness. Don Simpson is a big influence on me. He's probably my favorite letterer in comics. And, you know, you can't go wrong with Don Simpson drawing Zippy and Silver Surfer. And on the back side, you get Spidey. Let's open it up here and show it. And on the back side, you get Spidey, Spirit, Batman, Megaton Man, Thing. All sorts of goodness. Nexus. So as soon as I saw that, I snatched it up. I've been kind of going down a Comics Journal rabbit hole lately. I've been reading a lot more of like interviews and things like that as of late, so decided to pick this one up strictly for the Don Simpson stuff that's in it. There isn't any Don Simpson interview stuff. This is all mainly about Jim Shooter, which I'm sure this is going to be interesting nonetheless. So, this Jim Shooter is a fucking character, man. So that'll be fun to look into. Alright, and then I bought another Famous Monster. This is one that I did not own already. So this is going to be 134. Again, just bought it on a deal, so went ahead and snagged them up. You don't see a lot of Famous Monster stuff around here, so I decided to pick that up. Trying to separate I need to read this pile, and I already have this, or I already have read this pile. Okay. Oh, thought I did look them and stuck them over here. Alright, so this one I'm actually going to open up and take a look at it. So I'm kind of curious to see what it looks like on the inside. So this is a music fanzine from the 90s into the early 2000s, I want to say it was. Accidentally took the board with it. So let's see when this thing actually came out. Yeah, 92. Alright. So this is a music fanzine from 1992, and this whole purpose why I picked this up, there is a James O'Barr interview in here of all things. So James O'Barr was somebody who got a lot of attention, especially in like the alt slash goth community during this time, especially because of The Crow. I mean, a lot of black ink getting slung around, and for whatever reason, it really, I mean, the music and the movie especially, had a lot of that goth, just of the time style of music. So, of course, he's going to end up in one of these style of magazines, and then you get exclusive artwork like this. And I mean, come on. Just James O'Barr, he's one of those dudes that I put on a pedestal, so you cannot go wrong, man. Just look at this. And we're looking at Tundra Publishing too, so this is going to be that that publishing arm underneath Mirage that Kevin Eastman had started. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to actually look at this, but it's very interesting. It's just kind of like a punk alt, kind of like fanzine for music, but of course you're in it. Oh, there's some different comics there. It's kind of interesting. Check that out though. That's pretty cool. From Michael Core in Ridgeville, Ohio. But Tundra Publishing, what a story that is. So, my very first art mentor was James Farabot, or sorry, Ray Farabot. James, because I was looking at James O'Barr on the thing here, but Ray Farabot. And he was the art director at Kitchen Sink from the 80s up until, they closed it up. So he was there for about 15 years, just under 15 years. So he was there when Kitchen Sink had acquired Tundra Press from Kevin Eastman. So he's told me a handful of stories, just kind of about that time in comics. And he had, mentioned about working with James O'Barr and whatnot during the time, and basically he was telling me that James O'Barr definitely has like an aura about him, and basically everywhere the dude went, he had a he had a line of women just following him around because for whatever reason, The Crow is one of those books that a lot of women just really like. I'm not entirely sure why. It's just one of those things that just kind of females like, and I'm not gonna complain about that. It's a badass book. All right, so this is a weirder thing that I decided to purchase. So this is an LA Times, but it is all comic strips. So this is something that they released. I want to say it was like mid 2000-ish when this had come out. So yeah, 2020. So not just a handful of years ago. So this is an LA Times, and it just has a bunch of different cartoonists in it. Mainly the reason why I picked it up is because the Hernandez brothers are in here, good old Love and Rockets fame. But there's just all sorts of weird, just goofy shit that's in here. I love newspaper strips, and I love newspaper print, and this isn't something that you see all the time, so I decided to hop in on this. It still has that newspaper smell and everything like that to it. So you can't go wrong, man. It's just a weird oddity, and it's just like something that's just right up my alley. Wow, this is really cool. I'm gonna try to show this off here. Check that out. Really cool drawing. This looks like that thing from Star Wars in the cantina, not the cantina, but on the what the hell is it called? The Jabba Hutt's palace, when they're doing the little music scene. I can't remember what that character's name is, but that's what it looks like. But yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. I haven't a chance to flip through this yet, so I actually gotta go back and read some of this stuff. But it's pretty cool oddity. The whole reason why I did pick it up again is because it had the Hernandez brothers in here. I think I paid like $10 for it, and you cannot find this thing anywhere. I tried to find like even like documentation about what this thing even is. Can't find a damn thing. So it's just super strange. And I'm assuming that this had come out of an LA Times like Sunday paper at one point in time, and this was just like the big chunk of you know, comic strips that they had stuck in there. I have no idea, and Dave, who I bought it from, he doesn't know either. So it's just one of those weird oddity things. I'm super glad that I own it. Speaking of weird oddities, open this one up here and let's show this off. So this is Mirage Mini Comics. Something else that I haven't had a chance to look at yet, but this is a little box of mini comics of people from Mirage Studios. So you're gonna get Peter Laird, you're gonna get, you know, Rick Beach, Kevin Eastman, so on and so forth. Man, like this collection of comics right here is just like all of my greats. You got Bissett, Eastman, Laird. I mean, come on. And see, people were sleeping on this. So Dave does these live streams every Wednesday. When's Dave sales? It's the favorite thing that he does on the channel. So that's why when I talk to Dave, I try to push him to do more things on those Wednesday sales, because like in terms of doing different variety, because I think that's the best things that he does. But anyways, obviously the Turtles are super popular and people jump at the bit for Turtle stuff. So this had gone up for sale and nobody else had claimed this in the sale to buy it. Not your boy. He wasn't sleeping on this because he knew there was Turtle stuff in here. So people be sleeping on it. Super cool collection of comics here. So as you can see, it's just a bunch of mini comics and like a bunch of mini comics. So let's just go ahead and take a look at some of these, because I have never looked at this before. So, cool little Turtles mini comic here. So it looks like that we actually might be getting some of the wrestling stuff, because, oh wait, nope, never mind. So they got the samurai outfits on. It's kind of looking like the Archie wrestling stuff was kind of coming in. The stump wrestling. But hell yeah. 1989 right there. Turtles. Only way to get it is in that mini collection. So am I familiar with what this is? So this is Stephen Murphy, Rob Caswell. I'm not familiar with the two, to be honest with you. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of this, though. I don't know if I care for the art. I think that it kind of gets lost a little bit. Like, this is a really clean shot, but like this back here, it's a little much. It's hard to read, I think, especially when you're like looking at it up close. Like if you hold the page away from a distance, it's definitely a lot more readable. I'm actually gonna have to sit and read this. Man, I still can't believe that people were sleeping on this. That just blows my mind. Atlantic City. We got Stephen Murphy, Sue Levine, Dan Berger. Really cool style. I really like this. It definitely has that Archie look to it, like that Turtles Archie look. I'm actually pretty excited to break these things out and read them. So Commandosaurs, Laird de Bassett. Just hell yeah, man. So obviously these dudes ended up making their way into the Turtles. Not them specifically, but, you know, the Triceratops, Triceratons, and all those guys. Steve Bissett just... Wow, it's Razar. Is his name right? But, man, Steve Bissett just draws the best fucking dinosaurs. His King of the, what is it, King of the Monsters run that he did in the late 80s for Dark Horse on Godzilla is fucking amazing. Gizmo and the Fugitoid. Again, before he kind of made his way into Turtle Land. And I actually have Gizmo and Fugitoid #1 sitting over on my drawing desk right now. Mainly because I pulled it out to read it a little while back and never put it back. I've been terrible about organizing my comics lately. I just have stacks and stacks of floppies everywhere. So yet another turtle thing in here that people are sleeping on. So this is straight up Eastman and Laird, part of the Casey Jones mini-series that they had done. And look at that. So good. I cannot believe that people were sleeping on this collection, man. See, sometimes it pays off to have that comic book knowledge. Melting Pot, tell you right away, it's good old Eastman. One of the more badass things that he had done or put out through, I think Tundra ultimately ended up publishing Melting Pot. Badass stuff, man. So good. More turtle stuff. So who do we got here on this? Wow, this is strange. Wow, this is strange. Like this, a blow up love turtle. This is like actually fucking nuts. This is some like underground dozenshi shit right here, man. Like we have a fucking hippo fucking a blow up Donatello in this. Holy shit, I didn't even know that existed. Has to be Bassett. Man. badass, dude. Their use of duotone from Laird is just, you can just tell just right away just who was working on this in terms of doing the shading on it. Turtle stuff all day, man. Laird, the duotone god himself. Bush babies. Now I can't tell who did. Oh, Mark Baudet. He's got a fun style. Cool. Couple more to go here. Stephen Murphy. So it's kind of like that Fumetti style where we just have like kind of like pictures and text. This was very popular during the time people were doing things like this. I really don't care for comics like this personally. Like, it's cool, people that were experimenting and whatnot, but it's not my favorite. Lil Tiny. I'm not sure. So it's Veach. Rick Veach, of course. Wow. I mean, they weren't kidding. There's a lot there. So he talks about the history of that there. I'm not familiar with what this is, to be honest with you. And Rick Veach is one of my favorites. So I'll have to do a little bit of research onto that as well. Some Jim Lawson. Pretty interesting. Very, very manga-esque. Pretty cool. Yeah, dude, this is a badass collection of comics right here, man. I'm actually pretty excited to dig into this later. That one comic where the hippo is fucking a Donatello blow-up doll. Like, what even is that, man? I can't wait to actually get into that. Alright. So this is the last thing. Actually, no, we got a couple more books over there in my stack before we get to my Metal Gear stuff. This is something else that I picked up. This is going to be Nerve number 8. Of course, good old Bill Widener stuff. If you're not familiar with it, basically this is kind of an homage to Jack Kirby, an oversized edition stuff. It's kind of a different collection of different things. Some wild stuff that's in here. Just this dude just getting his head smashed in with the sledgehammer down here. So good. Funny stuff, man. Alright, then I got Love and Rockets 18 and 17. Some of these different Love and Rockets issues I don't own. I think I have 1 through 5, and then 13, 17, and 18 now. They're hard to find out here. This Fantagraphic stuff is kind of a pain in the ass to actually get here in the Midwest. So, if you do see it, you gotta snag it up. And then good old Judge Dredd Crime File Volume 3. So the reason why you'd want to pick up the Crime File stuff specifically, so this is going to be the OG Judge Dredd stuff that was going to be released through 2080 over in Europe, England, whatever you want to say. But it still has all of the original goodness in there. To where it's like, this is the best way to get the collections of Judge Dredd is through the Crime File stuff, without it being like fucked with, you know what I'm saying? It's like kind of like the best way to get the original stuff without it being super pricey, and getting it through original issues. And finding just OG Judge Dredd stuff here in America can kind of be a pain in the ass. So, especially since they don't print it anymore, so this is the way to get that Bullen goodness. Man, just, you cannot go wrong with Judge Dredd. Some of the best comics, especially the 2080 stuff. Alright, let's go ahead and move on here. Let's do the star of the show. Alright, good old Metal Gear. Let's just zoom out the camera a little bit here. Kind of a big book. Going to go into the full screen here. So this is going to be the Metal Gear Omnibus that IDW had put out. Originally it was 75 bucks. That is not what I paid for it. I wish that was what I paid for it. Man, this thing goes for 300 bucks probably, and I think I paid $215 for it, I want to say. So I still got it on a steal, and this thing is basically brand new. The condition is immaculate. It's perfect. The single issues are super expensive, so even if you did get them in single issues, you're not going to be getting them as cheap as what I did in this omnibus. Nobody jumped at this, and they were stupid, because he had the single issues after he had this. And somebody paid for them, and they paid for them, you know what I'm saying? So don't sleep on it when you see that stuff. If you guys have been collecting comic books and whatnot long enough, like, you know, you can't sleep on it. It's the name of the game. You snooze, you lose. So this is going to be the full omnibus. Basically, this collects the Metal Gear things that IDW had put out, the Ashley Wood comics. A very unique style. I love the Shadow Man stuff that Ashley had done as well. Looks like, yeah, we had Alex Gardner on the Sons of Liberty stuff, Matt Fraction as well, and Chris Prisco, I guess is how you'd pronounce the last name, on the Metal Gear stuff. So yeah, this is just collecting Metal Gear and the Sons of Liberty comics. So they were kind of getting this ready to where, I think this was when Metal Gear 4 was getting ready to come out around that time. What year was this? So it doesn't say when it was actually originally published, like the comics when they had come out. But I think that's the case. I think when Metal Gear 4 was coming out, I think is when they had made these originally. I could be wrong. Let's do a little bit of research. Let's see. Metal Gear. Because I am curious to know. Okay, yeah, so it was when Metal Gear 4 had come out, when they had originally started to work on this stuff, so that makes a lot of sense. So 2004 is when they started to do this stuff. So those were just, they never did Metal Gear 3, I don't believe, which is kind of strange. So they just kind of did the first two games and then they stopped. So they're basically just adaptations of those first two games in that Ashley Wood style. Very weird, gritty, painty photorealism style that Ashley does. And I think it works really great. I'm going to try to bring this away so there isn't a glare on the screen. Yeah, man, some of this stuff just looks strange. I didn't realize that I was casting out on the wrong camera there. Sometimes the feed I get on my end doesn't look the same, so when I refreshed over to the opposite page, I saw I was not on the right camera, so that was my apologies there. But yeah, man, some of this stuff is just crazy. I don't think that the art style works in some cases, and in some cases it does. It's very weird. Just kind of inconsistent in like the different styles that you get. I take a lot of different line work here, and then you get into stuff like this to where it's like you could tell that they actually took their time and to get an actual image of somebody and use it as reference. Like this autocon here, same thing, very basic, just line stuff. Classic. Alright, let's see what else we got here towards the back. Get out of the normal Metal Gear. Get into the Sons of Liberty stuff here. I think, yeah, this is still Metal Gear. All writing down here. The old bamboozle that Kojima pulled on everyone. The art style is a little different, which I definitely appreciate. Getting a lot more screen tone here in this one than you were on the first comic, that's for sure. Really strong drawing. I always talk about this to where you don't see it a lot of the time, so where like the action is sliding on the weapon. So I try to point that out when I see it. These underwater shots of him scubaing is very good. not the biggest fan of Metal Gear 2. I really like the first game for sure. Snake Eater, obviously a classic. I probably lean towards Snake Eater in terms of the original trilogy. But there's just something about the Phantom Pain. The story in the Phantom Pain obviously isn't the greatest. That's the game's, you know, weak suit, obviously, but you just can't fuck with the gameplay in Phantom Pain. It's so good. And now that I'm sitting here and I'm saying it, I'm gonna go and download it back on my PlayStation after this, because I'm gonna go play some fucking Metal Gear. Hell yeah, man. So, that kind of sucks that I was casting out to the wrong camera there, so that was my apologies, but I really like the art variation that they're doing on this comic, as opposed to just the first Metal Gear. The color definitely helps out a lot. Wow, this is actually wood to a T right there, man. The digital lettering looks a little strange, I think, especially like here. It should have been a little more stylized, at least colored, to make it, you know, more concurrent with what's going on the page here. It just looks a little strange. See what I mean? Like, this makes more sense, like doing the lettering like this, to more it's stylized and kind of part of the art piece, as opposed to, hey, we're just gonna go into MS Paint or PowerPoint, you know, and find a clip art of some basic ass comic lettering and throw it in here. So that's what it looks like. Oh yeah, man. It's good stuff. Really strong drawings too. And that's like an example of why you would want to hire Ashley Wood. Okay. It's fucking badass, man. Yeah, these are... like, this is just strange to me. Again, it's just like this shitty, like, lettering down here. Like, you go through all of this work to make this art piece, and then you just do this. You know what I'm saying? It's just weird. At least here, when they did their shitty clip art lettering, they at least colored it to make it match. Like, I don't get it. Why do this? It just looks bad. There's no other explanation. It just looks bad. But you know, this was 2004, so this is still pretty early digital, all things considered. It's fucking cool, man. It's a shame we never got a Snake Eater comic, and so on. That Psycho Mantis is really cool. I'm definitely more of like a Big Boss fan, I think, than I am like a Solid Snake fan. To get into your Metal Gear lore. Ashley Wood, man. Alright. I think that's just going to be a quick little flip through of that. Again, there isn't a lot of information about those out there. they're kind of expensive, so I felt like it was one of those things that I was going to show off for you guys. What's this? Read pile. All right. Cool. Well, I think probably where we're going to start wrapping it up here. Let's go ahead and kind of show this off again. Again, I'm going to be working on doing my own comic here. I'm going to be doing an anthology. I'm going to be having one done and printed and out into the early summer. And then the second book I hopefully will have out into the mid to late summer before September. I'm going to be on the con circuit this summer, so I need to have some books out and good to go to kind of shop around. I wanted to show off, kind of what I'm looking at here. So I have my, my anthology up and good to go. This is kind of just a, whatever you want to say, just kind of like a peek of kind of like the direction of what I'm going to go for. Obviously, I'm a fan of my famous monsters, which I'm going to grab here quick. So this is kind of the, the inspiration for what I was going for, was the old famous monsters. So I think I did a pretty good job nailing the, the aesthetic of what that would look like. Still kind of a work in progress. Probably not gonna have the thing, out until May, June-ish time frame. Like I said, early summer. And then the second book I will hopefully have out into the late summer. It's going to be a work in progress. Basically, the two stories that I do have, they are, what do you want to say? They're, man, I can't speak right now. The two stories that I have, they're kind of like sneak peeks or hints into like a larger thing that I'm doing, universe that I'm working on. The second book plays way more into it than the first story does. So, the first story is kind of like a tone piece to kind of give you an idea of, like what the world kind of is, what it feels like and everything like that, what the art direction and everything like that is going to be. And then the second book starts more introducing, the actual characters themselves and things like that of what I'm doing. So that'll be a lot of fun. And once I get a little further into the project, that's going to be something that I'm going to start doing here on the channel, is kind of showing the progress of everything, because my first story is completely finished. Like, my pages and everything like that are done. They're sitting right over here on my desk. So that's donezo. The only other thing that I have to do is basically get them scanned in and finished out. The scanner that I did have wasn't working out for me, so I needed to get a different scanner. So that is on its way. Once I get those, once I get to my new scanner, I'm gonna start scanning stuff, getting it thrown in, and then that's what we're gonna be taking a look at then, is getting that artwork actually digitized and thrown into the book and done. And then I gotta throw in all the other artists' artwork into this and get that finished. Put some more stylized text and everything like that on here to get it finished. And then just to show off again kind of what I was working on, this is the splash page to what I was doing. It's called Japan X 1974. it's strictly just kind of like it's like a tone piece that I'm working on, and then the second story gets more into the actual characters and things like that. So this will be a lot of fun. If you're into underground outlaw style comics, that's basically what I'm making, is an underground outlaw comic. So if you're into dudes getting their heads blown off and the things of the sort, it's definitely going to be your comic. So yeah, I guess that's probably where we're going to call it. Again, apologies for you know, the camera situation there at the beginning when I was kind of showing off the Metal Gear stuff. I was looking at the wrong screen and didn't realize that I did not change the feed, so I apologize for that. Whenever the video finally goes up, I'm going to go through and do some, whatever you want to call it, some time stamping and stuff for you guys, so that way it makes it a little more watchable during the replay. And then, yeah, I think that's what we're going to call it. So, hope you all have a good weekend. Thanks for hanging out, talking comics. We'll see you.